The secrets behind tea, next on How Do They Do It? The fertile slopes of Malaysia's mountains. From here comes the world's most popular drink. Wherever you go in the world, there'll be someone putting the kettle on for a nice cup of tea. Over 1.5 billion cups of tea are drunk every day, an average of 50 litres per person per year. Whether you're sipping Lapsang Souchong in the Outback or Darjeeling at the Ritz, behind every cup of tea is the handiwork of a genius. He's the tea swilling guru who ensures every cup tastes as good as it should. But how does he do it? Yorkshire tea makers Taylors of Harrogate have been pushing tea for more than 100 years. They sell 1.2 billion of their blended tea bags per year, and their loyal customers expect every tea bag to taste the same. And that's the hard part, because the flavour of each batch of tea leaves is affected by so many factors. The weather, the soil, the way it was dried and processed, and so on. So, to produce a consistent taste all year round, tailors have to blend teas from several countries and as many as 25 different tea plantations. When it comes to blending their teas, tailors have a secret weapon: Ian Brabbin. This man has an outstanding ability to recognise the most subtle differences in the flavour of tea. In an average day, he'll taste 400 cups of the stuff. It takes between 5 and 7 years of training to become a tea taster, and Ian is one of the best in the business. It takes him just one slurp to tell precisely where a tea comes from, when it was picked, and even what the weather was like when it was being grown.
Yeah, it's RDC2, calorie, 95 pence. The average palate has 9,000 taste buds, most of them on the tongue, so really we're spraying as much of the tea liquor as possible into our palate, as so. And really that really will give us the full flavour of the tea, but also if the tea has got any faults in it, we'll be able to pick them up.
Tea is grown in tropical climates all over the world. This plantation in Malaysia is 234 hectares and produces enough tea to make over 800,000 cups a day. A tea bush can take up to 5 years to reach a size where it can be harvested. Then the youngest growth, the top 2 leaves and an unopened bud are picked. Experienced pickers like these pluck 18 kilos of leaves a day, which will be turned into just 4.5 kilos of tea. When the leaves get to the processing plant, they're sieved to remove the stems and twigs. After being crushed in a grinder, they're then heated in a furnace which dries and browns them. Then they're sifted to a fine powdery consistency, leaving a dry leaf tea. It is this which is shipped abroad. For each tasting session, the stage must be set. The cups are carefully arranged, and each tea sample precisely measured. First, Ian handles the leaves to check their cut, quality and makeup. Then the tea is brewed for exactly 5 minutes. After the tea pots have filtered out the unwanted leaves, the tasting can begin.
Next one.
Same garden, 67.
What we're looking for is teas that basically have good flavour, good brightness and good character. What we don't want are teas that may be contaminated. What we sometimes get is teas that have too much moisture. We call those weathery teas, and eventually they'll become mouldy teas. 17539 mode.
Alright, keep to gauge.
That's an RDC2, bright useful, 95 pence.
As he tastes, he gives the tea number, the price in English pence that he's willing to pay, together with his assessment of the quality.
BRC3, ticket useful, that's excellent tea, 115 pence. 17548.
Same garden.
Ian's palate is so refined that his reactions are almost instantaneous.
Thin green spoon. 7232. pour mixed leaf.
Ian's split-second response to the taste of a cup determines the success of an entire harvest of tea. But Ian doesn't just have to pick out the best, he's also got to work out which combination of teas is ideal. To you, it's just a tea bag, but inside is a combination of tea leaves from as many as 7 different countries. What quantity of which tea goes into the blend is down to the master.
We've made up 100 grams of tea here that will replicate 10 tonnes of tea being produced in the tea factory. What we'll do here is taste it against the last 10 tonnes of tea we approved and a running standard that, of Yorkshire tea that we keep here. And we need to make sure it's absolutely consistent with the last one that went through the factory, and we're very happy with that one, so we'll approve that. And now that blend is approved, we will bring the tea up into the tea factory, ready for packing.
Once Ian's chosen his blend, the tea is shipped in and mixed in large vats. The tea is fed into a blending drum. This turns precisely 12 times, carefully calculated to be just the right number of revolutions to create the perfect mix. "96% of tea in the UK is now sold in bag form, and that's the next stage. Each bag contains 3 grams of tea, accurately measured to Ian's specifications. Then the bags are heat sealed at over 200 degrees Celsius and packaged. And the whole process, from plantation bush to tea bag, takes just 12 weeks. So the next time you're sitting down to a cup of tea, spare a thought for tea-tasting master Ian Brabin, spitting out all that tea into a bucket every day. Or then again, perhaps you should just put Ian out of your mind. Some secrets are best left that way. Behind the ordinary is the extraordinary. Coming up, the secrets behind making a modern superbike. Next on How Do They Do It? In China, it's a taxi. In the USA, it's built for speed. In Europe, it goes off-road, across difficult terrain. The bike is so many things to so many people. And modern bikes seem to be getting lighter and stronger and faster all the time. So how does good old-fashioned handcrafting combine with modern materials to make the ultimate bike? How do they do it? San Francisco, California. Cycling in this city poses a very particular challenge. Yes, thanks to those blasted hills, cycling is either mind-bendingly hard work or dangerously easy. No surprise then that in the face of such two-wheel challenges, San Fran has produced some of the world's most innovative bicycle designers. The bike is one of the most energy-efficient modes of transport in the world, and it really needs to be when you're facing a punishing climb up a steep hill.
I want the rider to feel that the bike is really helping him. It's helping him get up the hill as most efficiently he can possibly get there. It's going to give him the best handling bike, and it's just going to make a really enjoyable ride.
But although the bike may be designed in California, it's actually built in Taiwan. Taiwan is one of the world's leading bike manufacturers, producing over 5 million of them every year. Despite the scale of production, producing a bicycle remains a skilled craft. Almost every stage of the process is done by hand. And it all starts with these aluminium alloy tubes, which are destined to become super strong, super light bike frames. First, they need to be cut to length. But the problem with round aluminium pipes is that although they're light, they're also weak and easily bent. So the tubes have to be strengthened. And this is how they do it: by squashing and bending them. This turns the tube's profile from a circle into an ellipse. It's a shape that's significantly stronger along its vertical axis. Heating and rapid cooling then further increases the metal's tensile strength. To make the frame stronger still, the tubes are joined together using a technique called mitering.
Mitering is a process by which a round tube has a contour applied to it, so it will mate closely with a tube it's to be welded to. If you have a flat edge on a tube, when you apply a weld to the tube, the weld won't be strong enough.
The tube